Hey, what's up? Eileen here. I just wanted to say thanks for watching this video today. Before we dive in, I want to let you know if you're looking to do 6 and 7 figure days with virtual events, head on over to acceleratemyrevenue.com or click the link in the description and grab a free ticket to our 5-day challenge. You guys ready? Let's dive into today's video.
Listen, a lot of people use slides and they have like graphics.
Yeah.
Joe and I don't.
No.
We just draw things.
So this is kind of the idea, and some of you may have seen this before, but for those of you, hope you can see my screen. I draw a line with a start and an end point. Point A is like...
You should write this down. This is worth copying down, guys. Yep.
This point A is like who my ideal client is, like what's going on in their life right now. And point Z is where they are after they've attended one of my virtual events. Okay? So that's kind of the idea. So there's a couple steps in this process. And the first one is the hardest. Would you agree with that? The first is the hardest?
Yeah, the first is definitely the hardest.
Yeah.
You get it out of the way first, though.
All right. And I'm going to use green for these little steps along the way because green.
It's blowing my mind, Joe. It's awesome. Just keep going.
Okay.
It's artistry.
I thought it's sublime. Is that what you said? Sublime?
I said it's just, you're blowing my mind with like...
You said it's sublime. I was like, that's the problem. Anyways, okay. Step one, and this is the hard one, okay? Yeah. Is to make the decision.
So good.
Eileen, I spent in my time running a nonprofit and trying to change the world there and going homeless 3 times.
Wow. I didn't know that, Joe.
Day after day after day, watching webinars, going down to a whiteboard, figuring out the numbers, getting excited, telling my wife, we're gonna do this, this is awesome. Then she'd like come down, okay, cool, like get it. And then I'd like go start trying to do it. And you know what happened? I'd run into an obstacle and I'd be like, I wonder how I'm gonna solve that. And so I'd go watch some more webinars to try and figure out a better way to do that thing. And then I'd see another business opportunity. And then like I'd do that. And I'd be like, this is even better. The grass is greener on this side. And I do it again and again and again and again. And I'm going to tell you something. This is why I say this is the hardest one. You don't believe me, but I'm telling you the truth. It took me, you know how many years it took me to finally make a decision where I actually like could hunker down and make money? It took me, don't laugh at me, 7 years. I bounced for 7 years.
Wow.
And I lost my dream because I wanted to change the world with those kids. And I felt like a complete loser. I mean, I was jacked up spiritually, mentally. Why isn't God helping me? Why is my life such a mess? Why? And when I got down the road and could look back over the journey that I had taken, there was one, I'm sorry for yelling at you, but one problem, one. And the problem was I wouldn't make a decision. Decision comes from the Latin word incision, which means to cut. Decision, decision, if you guys have ever studied Latin, it means off. So decision means to cut off. In other words, when you make a decision, you're saying, I'm doing this and nothing else. In other words, a decision means I'm all in. How many of you know to really go to the next level in your life, you're going to have to go all in? Right? You can't play around. Like you have to make a decision. And I am telling you, and you don't have to believe me yet, we're going to show you, but I am telling you, the greatest opportunity for coaches, consultants, course makers, done for you people on the planet right now, the fastest and simplest path to make the most money and the most impact on planet Earth today is virtual events. And that's why I decided to go all in. Because it's like, I mean, webinars used to be awesome, and they're still kind of awesome, but I don't know anybody doing $500,000 in a webinar in a day.
Preach it, Joe.
And I know very few people doing even like $143,000 in a webinar in a day.
In a day.
A day.
That's right.
and serving a lot of people.
Mm.
A lot of people along that process.
Mm.
So the first thing's a decision. Everybody write decision if that makes sense. You guys with me?
Did you know that, just to add into what you're saying, Joe, that the man who wrote like Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, he studied like 13 characteristics of what made people wealthy, and being decisive was one of the behaviors. But he found that people aren't born with decisiveness. They're not born being decisive. You actually have to learn how to be decisive. And all the millionaires that he studied learned that skill, the power to make a decision quickly. I thought that was interesting because I was like, oh, wow, I have to learn. We all have to learn how to exercise that and like grow. And that's how you become wealthy, is becoming decisive in nature. That's what he wrote in the book.
I wish I had some fire emojis because that was fire.
Being decisive in nature. That's a power wealth skill right there.
Somebody's asking, what's the distinction between a virtual event and a webinar? Great question. Who's that had a fire emoji? Renee. Oh, look at her. I like it. Oh,
maybe we'll answer it too. Well, that's a good question, David. Will we answer that one, or should we hit it now?
Let's just hit it right now. All
right.
I want everybody to know what a virtual event is. So
yeah,
a webinar, right, is, you use the same software, so it's right to be confusing. I would say, and Eileen, I'd love to hear your answer. A webinar is usually we're on a webinar right now. It's usually a 60 to 90 minute presentation. It may go 2 hours, but it's just a short window to kind of talk through, and usually it has some sort of offer at the end. That's a webinar.
Yeah.
A virtual event, on the other hand, is, I would say, a minimum of a half day, oftentimes 1 to 2 days, where it's a completely immersive experience. That's not just like, hey, overview. It's literally going deep into all, because you have to. You're spending 16 hours together, right? So it's a fully immersive. It's like going to it's like the difference between going to a webinar or going to a live event. The only thing about an event is it happens virtually.
Yeah. I would also say, David, they're like way more fun than a webinar. Some webinars are painful.
Yeah.
Wave your hand if you've ever sat through a painful webinar. You're like, just shoot me now. Like, please stop. I don't know. Like, virtual events are different, but they are, we keep using that word transformational. And the reason why we're using that is because one of the things that your chief goal in a virtual event is to help shape people's beliefs, give them belief in themselves, give them belief in what you're selling. So it actually, to be honest with you, I think it like rewires people's brains. I think virtual events is like, that's why it's transformational, because you're changing the person so much. So it's more time and it's way more fun, David. Back to you.
Literally, I love what you say. And transformation, this is a good writer downer. Just a side note, I don't want to get off track, but I want to give you guys lots of value too. So we're still on, we're going to step 2, but at a virtual event, here's a little secret, a little extra tip. You guys want an extra tip? Yeah? Okay. In virtual events, I literally create 2 identities. So like when Dan and I did $1 million day, we identified the beliefs that people who are going to struggle have and the beliefs that people that succeed have. And the whole event, we would contrast these 2 personalities. And you'll name them at your event. So for Dan's event, we had he teaches marketing. So we had marketing minions and marketing millionaires. And so when ideas came up, we could say, okay, people say blah, blah, blah. Let me ask you, audience, is that a marketing minion thought or is that a marketing millionaire thought? And people would say, oh, that's a minion thought, right? So, you want to be a minion or a millionaire? Like, I want to be a millionaire. And so they personally will start coming to the conclusion about who they want to be.
Good.
And hurting them, you're just helping them see the distinctions of thinking, and they can identify it. They just don't see it in themselves until you take them through that exercise.
So good, Joe. That was a power tip. That was some gold right there.
All right, step 2. So step 1 was make a decision. Step 2 is, you ready? Fill the room, right?
Good.
Decision to do an event, what the event name is, what the event promise is. As a matter of fact, Eileen, I don't know if I do. I have the ability to share my screen.
Yeah, man.
What I take people through is we have a process for our clients called the Perfect Virtual Event Manual. And it's literally like step by step, exactly what to do for every step of this. When they're going through the decision phase, they're figuring out like, what's the event name, length, date, time, the event promise. the budget, how much it's going to cost to get the people there. We'll go over that in a little bit later today. Who my team is, and if I don't have a team, what my roles are, the tools and assets I have available in case, like, there's lots of decisions to be made, right? And you just make those decisions and you're like, okay, I'm ready. Like, now I'm going to fill the room. And you guys are like, how do you fill the room? We'll talk a little bit about it, but just real quick for right now, because we're just trying to get through the overview. I have 7 different ways to fill the event. Most people pick 2 or 3. They don't do all 7. They just pick a few and boom, they fill the event with those. Some are paid, some are free. Like, there's lots of different ways to do it. Doesn't matter if you have a big list or not. I will say it's like,
that's good, Joe.
Yeah. Like, you just, anyways, so I'll go deeper on that, but that's fill.
Okay. So yeah, I just want to, some people, a big thing with them is like, I don't have an email list. I don't have an audience. Nobody follows me on Instagram. I don't even have Instagram. And we just want to let you know it still works. We've seen this work for people who have like no audience, because the way that you do it, I don't know if how deep we're going here, how much time we have, but it's very easy to actually build credibility, like, you don't need to have a huge audience in order to fill your room. I can't remember, Joe, if like we're going to go, how much time we have to go into this, but is this where, let me ask you, Joe, is this where I talk about the guest speakers? We have all night.
Yeah. One through these 4.
Is it okay?
Fill the room. We'll hit that in more detail, and I want you to talk about that in just a minute. Yep.
Okay, good.
So that's step 2 is fill the room. I mean, here's the thing though about filling the room. I love this part. You guys ready for this? I love this. Right? There's no room.
There's no room.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you have 12 people there. Cool. By the way, I did I call them pop-up events. Usually the first event I have people do, I call them a pop-up event because they're just a little tester to make sure everything's working.
Good.
So I literally did a pop-up event this weekend, and I had 12 people in the room. It was a 4-hour pop-up test event. And I had 3 people apply for our program. And it's like, would you spend 4 hours to get 3 sales? Right? It doesn't have to be huge. So when I say fill the room could be 6, right?
That's good.
So it starts with a pop-up. You'll have so much more confidence after you do the pop-up. Here's the other cool thing about the pop-up. If you follow the process that Eileen and I teach you, the first one's a pop-up, and guess what the pop-up does for you? It gives you a war chest of money to work with.
Ooh.
And then you can pick maybe one of the challenges. And I'm going to show, is it okay if I show you guys at the end how to get like 100 people to your virtual event, 120 to your virtual event with $0 in ad spend? Is that okay?
Guys, put in the chat if you wanted to show you, because it's so ninja. It's ridiculous. Okay. It's crazy pants. It's so good. What Joe's going to show you. Yeah. Or you do. Yeah.
It's a pop-up. I just call it a pop-up.
Oh, good.
It means a pop-up event for somebody who asks, like, to just like get a bunch of cash together real quick. A pop-up event. So when I decided to do that event, that pop-up event, I think it was either the Tuesday or Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Wow. Saturday after Thanksgiving? Dang.
Yeah. So we're talking less than a week. Pop-up. Boom. All right. Oh, by the way, we'll tell them about it in a little bit, but we're going to be inviting you all to come to my half-day pop-up.
Yeah. If you want to watch Joe do a pop-up, it's happening.
Come for free. Like, it's cool. But anyways, we'll talk about that later. So so fill the room is number 2. Number 3, I mean, this is not complicated, okay? Like, there's a process to each of it, but number 3 is, you ready for this? It's like, host the event. Okay? Host the event. Now,
are your minds blown, guys? Are you just like, oh my gosh?
We're going to go into detail on hosting the event and talking about how simple that is and how doable that is. Wait till you hear what Eileen shares on this. Anyways, and then number 4, the last thing, is what I call post-event. And post-event is where you make it rain like a hurricane.
Yeah.
It's where everybody who said, awesome, I want to go deeper with you, says, let's do this. So I'll tell you this. Post-event, Here's the numbers consistently across the board. Every niche, everything that I've looked at, whether you're working in relationships, spirituality, health, wealth, whatever your category is that you're serving people in, after a virtual event, the close rate of people who purchase is on average 20 to 35%. 20 to 35%. Let me ask you a question. Who spends 2 days at a virtual event with you? Someone who really wants to solve the problem that your event promises, or someone that's just kind of like, oh, I don't know, I'll kick it around and take a look.
That's so good.
To that. Now, are there some target takers? Sure. There's some people that are like freeple people, as we call them. They want everything for free. None of you are those people. You all like are like you all took the special event. Like, so give yourselves a round of applause. You're like believing value for value. Like, it makes sense. So yeah, those are the 4 steps. And I know that's not complicated, and that's purposeful, because you guys think you need a degree in engineering in order to do it. And it's like, no, like, you make the decision. You pick the ways that you're going to choose to fill the event. We're going to talk more about. You host the event, and there's a specific way you can structure it to make sure you get all your content. And at the end of your event, can I tell you this too? When you talk to people after an event, post-event, who've applied to work with you, it's not a sales call. It is an onboarding call, because they've already made the decision. They spent 2 days with you, right, Eileen?
Yeah. Yep. So yeah. So you're not on the phone closing. And that's a really cool thing. If any of you guys do closing on the phone, it's mass selling. I think, Joe, that's the key. So you're not going one-to-one. And I think the real takeaway here, guys, is virtual events collapse timeframes, right? So you're not on the phone, you're not selling another way. You're not even really selling like on funnels and all this complicated marketing. You're taking, it's the speed to the wealth. The virtual event, I learned this all from my mentor, but like, it's literally like the fastest path, because you're collapsing time. You're doing right. So you see how I did $100,000 on the phone, not able to be with my mom, but then you can also do way over $100,000 in just 2 days. Right. So that's what we're going to be doing, Joe, for the rest of our business, is just events.
Yeah. So for those of you, how many of you put it in the chat if you do scheduled sales calls right now? How many of you do scheduled sales calls? Put it in the chat and give me a yes. Okay. I'm getting a couple. Yep. Lots of yeses. Okay. So for you to talk to 100 people.
Yeah.
Okay. For you to talk to 100 people, you'd have to have 5 appointments a day for 20 days. That's basically an entire month, all day, 5 hours a day on the phone. Okay. And if you close, say 20% of them, like an average closer does, right? Cool. Those are going to be your numbers. You could do that, or you can make a decision and say, what if I just brought everybody together for 2 days or 1 day, or we'll talk, there's different reasons why you do different length events, but for say 1 to 2 days, and just talk to them all right there, and you're still going to get 20 to 35% close.
So good. So guys, let's do this. Joe, we're going to dive into the strategy. Okay. I know you guys let me know, do you like the ninja stuff? Don't you guys like the ninja stuff? It's so good, right? But what I want you to do in the chat, let me know your biggest takeaway so far. What's been like the biggest aha, the biggest epiphany? Is this new information to you? What is standing out to you? Just being highlighted in a new way. Could be something from Joe's story, or like what's like 2 identities, the simplicity of it all. So good, Kalia. 2 identities. They love that. Okay, good.
Yeah.
What else, guys? Let me know. Is it virtual? Are you seeing the speed? Because here's the minions versus millions. I love that. Here's the thing that you and I, and for everyone listening to the sound of my voice, you need more time. You need to not work so much. Like you need to spend time with your family. Okay. I'm just here. Is that okay if I just like preach after you for a second? You need more time, right? To enjoy your life. Like that is the hidden thing that we don't talk about enough, Joe. I think with events is like, I don't work. I stopped working. I'm not going to work again since I decided that with my mom. I'm only going to do events 2 days a month. Like you need time.
Eileen, what's the alternative? Like either you have to be selling or find a sales team.
Yeah, that's right. Or scale it out with a team. Right.
How many of you have ever tried to put together a sales team of just say 2 or 3 people that can sell high ticket. Anybody ever tried that? Give me a big yes if you've tried that. I have. Can I just tell you a secret? You guys think it's easy to find someone who can close a high ticket sale, your high ticket program, over the phone? Somebody said tried and failed. Yeah, it's hard. And it's infuriating because you're spending money to get leads, to get appointments, and nothing's happening. And you're going like circling the drain because the money keeps disappearing and nothing's coming in. It's tough. What if I told you as an individual, as you could outsell an entire high ticket sales team spending just 2 days a month and you never have to get on the phone? That's what virtual events allows you to do. Hallelujah.
Good preaching. All right, Joe, let's dive in, man. Okay, so you guys got
for you.
What?
Question for you. If this is so good, why do so many people not do it?
That is a good question, Joe. Are you asking me that question?
Yeah.
I was like, I think there are a couple reasons why people don't do it, but they're easily solvable. Mm-hmm. I think that personally, people aren't aware of it. They don't know how to do it. I think they're not aware. I don't think it's a vehicle that's very prevalent in the market right now. Not everybody's doing it. Secondarily, I think people get like weird about like speaking. So people can't imagine like, and let me know, you can be real. Like I was like this, like I was like, what am I going to say for 2 days? Is anyone like that? Raise of hands. Like, are you like, sorry, Joe, what?
Yeah. Give us a yes in the chat. I think you need to speak to
like, are you like, what? I'm going to stand in front of a computer for 2 days and like, what? So I think those two things, I think they're unaware and then they have no idea how to structure and what to say.
That's about it. How do you solve the content piece? Let's get into that.
All right. There's two. So we're getting into the ninja stuff now, Joe?
Yeah. Ninja.
Okay.
Ninja.
Okay. I don't know with like the steps. I'm like, when is my turn to talk? I couldn't remember. Okay. So the 2 ways, well, number 1, now you're aware. Consider yourself aware now that this is the best, hottest thing on the internet. And it'll probably be that way till Jesus comes, to be totally honest with you, because nobody will people won't do this information that we're telling you. So you decide to be the one to do it. Just step up, stand up and say, I'm going to share my message. Okay. So now once you make that decision, step 1, step 2, fill the event. Okay, or whatever. Okay, what? Let me solve this. What you're going to say. Okay. Now, some of you guys may be speakers, and you're cool. You're down with it. You're like, give me a mic, Eileen. Okay, and that's fine. There's other people who have like never spoken in public before. They would, public speaking is a number 1 fear. Did you guys know that? It is like more than death.
Yeah. So
people are more scared of speaking at a funeral than being in the casket. Like it's legit that level of cortisol. Like it's like, so here's how you solve that. Number 1, you're in your house. Like I'm in my office. Like it's chill, man. Like I'm having coffee. Like, first of all, just recognize the environment. You're not on a huge stage. There aren't 4,000 people looking at you. There's not hot lights. Like it's cool. So just chill for a second. And then number 2, like you don't have to talk the whole time. I don't talk the whole 2 days. I would lose my voice probably. I don't even know. Tony Robbins doesn't. So here's what I do. I invite like crazy cool guest speakers. Like so fun. I invite my friends. I invite people that I really respect and admire, heroes. So right now, like actually take 2 seconds. Like who would you invite to your event? Like who would be like so crazy cool? You just write them down. Like maybe somebody like, you kind of look up to. It's so cool because you connect with them like before the event. And it's like you get this cool chill time and they speak and they love it. And the crazy thing that people don't know is that a lot of people, like they'll just speak for free. People love speaking. So you don't have to pay them. Like this doesn't have to be like you give them your firstborn child. Just, you know what I mean? Like just invite cool people that you love. And so they'll take some of the speaking, right, Joe? Right. And then the other cool thing. So what I did is I went and found like the best speeches that caused sales. So I went and studied speakers. It's like, you see these books behind me? I have like a lot of books. I love like studying great salespeople. Like, let me know in the chat if you love sales. If you love sales, you're in the right place. If you hate money, you should go. Okay.
If you're afraid of sales, though, it's okay too, because wait till she shows you this. This is
yeah. So I just started transcribing I'd listen to things. I'd listen to training, Russell Brunson, Peng Joon, John Childers. I don't know if you guys know, these are great like closers, great stage closers, great present. So I like literally sat and recorded things and sent them to transcribers and I sat and I just studied this. Okay. This one is 10 pages. I have another one that's 31 pages. And I know you're like, what the what? But here's the thing, guys. If you could study speeches that made millions of dollars, would you agree? I'm just getting so chill here. I'm just like leaning in like it's late night TV. Like, would you agree that it would behoove, I just use the word behoove. It would behoove you to also learn some of what they're saying, the content that they're saying. If those speeches made millions of dollars, come on, show of hands, would you agree that you too could speak those speeches and make money? Okay, I don't see anyone's hands up. Like, you get it? Study the speeches that work and learn them. So yes, I'm going to full on admit I was a nerd. Call me what you want. I don't care. I memorized these speeches. I memorized them.
Yep.
I am not ashamed. Okay. I memorized these speeches and then I used them in my events, and guess what they did? They did the same thing that the speeches did for the other guy. They made sales. So I learned the speeches that caused transformation. Oh, sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think, one of the thoughts of people like you, what Eileen is not saying is that she doesn't spend an hour and a half telling their entire speech word for word. She's talking about like the closing examples or stories that they use that were really good just to help like, boom, fill the gaps. You call them bits.
I call them bits. I call them bits because that's what Jimmy Fallon calls his little comedy things. So I was like, these are my bits. So I have these bits. I've learned them all. I've memorized them all. And now I can actually like say the bits. And I was thinking about maybe even doing, but I don't know if I'll do it. But I can just pull out my bag of bits and I know what to say. And you only have to speak like a few times during your event. Like it's really like 3 or 4 or 5. It's however much you want. And you can just do the bits.
Yep. You have your own stories and you use the bits, or you can it's like a little Lego game, right? You can just put the pieces together.
And like most events, I'll be totally like most events, I'm on virtual event. I have this Google Doc and another Google Doc, my 31 pager right next to me while I'm doing the virtual event. So I can remember the bits. Making sense?
Like literally, like, can you guys see my face right now? So doing an event, like the beginning of the event, when I'm telling the first thing that I always want to say, and then I have the second bit, and there's little pieces that are always apart, and then some of it's kind of free flow for me, but nevertheless, like right now, I'm reading what I am saying, and you have no idea that I'm reading what I'm saying because I'm looking at the screen as if I was reading it, but nobody knows.
Oh, I didn't know that, Joe. You're like better at it than I am.
Right? You do the same. Like you could literally have the pieces that you're uncomfortable with as you get better and better. Those are like literally written out. And because you're on a Zoom screen, you can literally just look right at it.
Got it.
And you're reading.
It's so cool. It's so cool. And like, what's cool is like, you'll see a bit that'll really transform the audience. I love those ones because you're kind of getting real-time reaction. Like people are like, oh my gosh, I just got the biggest breakthrough. And then I go over to my Google Doc and I like star it. I'm like, use that. That was a good one. Like do that one again. So I know like the best ones, so.
And the other thing about content, like you got the bits, but Eileen, wouldn't you agree? I mean, when I actually sit down with my clients and I'm telling them, okay, like here's what we're going to cover, they already know their stuff. Like I don't have to teach them. If they're teaching parenting, I don't have to teach them the content about parenting. They already know it. Like you're already an expert in whatever it is that you teach for most of you, right?
Yeah, right. Great point.
So what I do, let me share. I'm going to share my screen here again. So this is like, this is the table of contents for the virtual event manual, the perfect virtual event manual. And so right here, this is like an example of a 2-day content, okay, of kind of how it gets broken down. Well, the intro session is like 15 minutes. And almost all that is bits, because really all I'm trying to do is create engagement, set the tone, let people know what I expect from them, right? This pre-pitch session is almost all bits. That's pre-written. You're in session 1. How many of you have an origin story like that you tell about when you're talking to clients about how it all got started for you? How many of you have that? Give me a big yes in the chat if you have an origin story. Let me see. I'm looking right now to see who's responding. Where are we at? There we go. Okay. Couple, 5, 6. Okay, here you go. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then I spend, this is usually a 90-minute session. I spend that asking them what they want.
Oh, that's good, Joe.
So this is them talking. This is us jumping on. This is just me talking like I'm at a dinner table, right? Session 2 would be, then there's lots of breaks, by the way. Session 2 would be me teaching my overall process or system that helps results. How many of you could talk about the overarching idea of your system and tell some stories and answer some questions? Give me a yes in the chat if that makes sense, right? And so literally, like, once you have your system, it's just the little pieces. Here, remember this? I'm going to stop the screen share. Remember this? So if I was doing a virtual event on this, I have 90 minutes before I even start, where I'm figuring out what they want to make sure that I'm orienting my content correctly.
That's good, Joe.
And then the next session, I'm teaching this, the overview of my process. Well, guess what my next session is going to be? I'm going to go deep into part 1. And the session after that, I'm going to go deep into part 2. And the session after that, I'm going to go deep into part 3, right? And then I'm going to have a speaker who comes on and shares. I may help them through some like mental, like, are you guys getting this? In a 2-day event, I put it all together, and the most common result is I speak 5 times in 2 days. How many of you have more than 5 steps in your total process? Anybody?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, Eileen. I'm just trying to.
No. That's so good. I think the thing that that changed in my mind, guys, is like once you start really like, have you ever sat with coffee? Actually, like one of my BFFs, Hannah's on here right now, so I'm just shout out to you, Hannah. Like you sat with your like BFF of coffee, and you just like, you're just like talking. Do you know what I mean? And it's like you're not even thinking about what you're saying. You're just like you could talk for like 2. Maybe the girls. Is this just for the girls? Okay, all right. You can just talk, you know what I mean? You can talk on the area of your expertise, like free flow. You're in flow. Wave your hands so I know I'm talking to the right people, okay? Right? You're in free flow. That's kind of what happens at the virtual event. You're just like, and then you're like, what? We have to go?
Yeah.
This is so sad. Everyone's like crying. You just like want to hug everybody. I mean, it's so weird. So let me just say, like, the actual experience of it is like, you have so much content, you probably aren't aware of how much ninja stuff you've got. And you there's not enough time at the event.
Again, this is a pop-up event. Every single client I've ever had way too much content. Like, they get to day 2 and they're like 2 sessions behind. And they're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get it all in? But before, your big fear is, oh my gosh, how am I going to have enough? I'm telling you, you have enough.
Yeah. Okay, did we solve your, all right, let me know in the chat. Do we minimize your what the heck am I supposed to say for 2 days? Did we minimize? Just say yes. I'm a little, anxiety is a little lower. Okay. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So you're a little bit low. You can buy guest speakers, fill it with that. You can memorize cool speeches that make sales. You can do that. Just record them, transcribe them just like I did. Like you can do that, or just teach your stuff like Joe does. Like he just teaches his strategy, his system. So there's lots of ways to fill that time. Joe?
I also say this, a lot of people say at events, teach the what, not the how. And I understand that to a degree. Like you don't want to do really boring stuff, like whatever, like literally pecking away at a Facebook ad or something like that would be boring. But at my events, I teach the how. Because most people who come to events, they're like, they all believe that you're just going to teach them a bunch of stuff and leave out one big puzzle piece so you can sell them something later on. That's not how I roll. Like, I don't like that. And neither do people who come to events. So many people think like that. Like, what's the puzzle piece? I'm going to, no. Teach it all. Give it all.
That's what we're doing right now. Yeah.
On them. Like throw the gauntlet down and give it all to them. Because the reality is, It's not information that changes people's lives. Well, literally, I showed you my, look at this, look at my session. Here's another golden nugget, little secret. By the way, I told this to Myron Golden, and Myron has done 3.8 million in sales in 30 minutes before. So he is like, dude,
greatest of all time.
Russell Brunson, and Russell's already said like Myron's the man, you know what I mean? Whatever. Look at this. On day 2, look at what I have here. Round table, round hot seats. Again, I'm not talking now. I'm interviewing, I'm asking questions. We do hot seats with our clients. Why do we do hot seats with our clients there? Because we really, really care about them and want to help them. And here's the problem that your clients will have after you've made your offer at a 2-day virtual event. Can anyone guess, Eileen, you're not allowed to guess. I know you. Can anyone guess, after 1.5 days of teaching and showing everything, almost everything, you got 1 or 2 more little content pieces there. After 2 days of teaching them almost everything, what is the only objection, if you do your event right, what is the only objection left for them buying your coaching done for you or whatever it is that you offer? There's only one objection left. Can anybody guess what that objection is?
Oh, we got people saying money, 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 money.
No, you've delivered so much value. They know that whatever their trade-off is, it's better. It's not money.
It's a false belief that they have. So it's one more false belief that they have left. It's like the last domino.
Those are great guesses. Those are great.
Doubt.
Nobody said they can't do it. No, the opposite. The one belief left at that part, okay, I'm going to share my screen again so you guys can see where it is. The one false belief left, we've already helped them understand they can do it. We've already helped them understand the system works. They've had so much proof and asked so many questions by day 1.5. They know you're legit. Like, you can't fake it if you're not legit. They know you know your stuff.
Good.
They either like you or hate you at that point. They have one objection left, and here's the objection. I have the information, therefore I don't need their help.
Right.
So I do hot seats. And when I told Myron Golden this, Myron was like, why would you bring them on and blah, blah, blah. You want to have the stage the whole time so you can like work intelligently towards helping them get their result. And I said, no, Myron. I said, what happens at the event is right here. The only objection, and it's just what I told you. The only objection left is they think, I have the information, therefore I don't need your help. And so the reason I do hot seats is to help them understand that almost everything in your life right now, you have the information. You have it, right? The issue isn't information. The issue is who you are and your ability with muscle memory to make the right decisions to implement that information time after time after time. I'll give you a perfect example. This is a book called Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win. In this book, Jocko Willink, a former Navy SEAL, teaches me how to go into a city that's overrun with the enemy and owned by the enemy, create a base camp, and take over the city.
Oh my gosh.
So I read the book, right? I've got the information. How many of you think I could go into an enemy city and take it out?
Wow.
Not a chance. But Joe, you've got the information. Yeah, like Tiger Woods could show me how to swing a golf club too. How many of you think I'm going to hit a ball like Tiger Woods just because I have the information? Mm-hmm. You've got to have somebody there that's going to keep you focused on the details and the nuances and the little things to help you get there. And so the reason why I have a hot seat here is I'll literally bring clients on and let them practice. And when they practice, guess what they do? They don't do a good job. And that may seem mean for me to do that. And I help them and coach them through it right there live. And I make sure like I help them not to be embarrassed and stuff like that. But, oh, here's another nugget. When you do something to one person in the audience, the whole audience experiences it as if you've done it to them. So when you're kind and give a compliment to someone in the audience, you've just given a compliment to the entire audience. They feel it in that way. Why do I say that? Myron's like, why do you do that, Joe? I say, because that helps them see that if they don't work together with me, they're going to have a hard, long struggle and probably won't get to success by themselves. And he goes, you're a genius.
Wow.
And I love it. It's the first time everybody as smart as Myron Golden said, you're a genius to me. So I'm like, I'll take it, right? And so for you, right, same thing. You're going to have I don't remember why I went down this road. Oh, because for you, you're thinking I got to have all this content. Much of it is just helping people get the best results for themselves and get past the false beliefs that I have the knowledge, therefore I can do it myself. That's why we structure it that way. Does that help you guys with the content?
So good. That was a money tip, guys. That was a money tip.
That is it.
That's the last objection. So that session, that's great. That's a great way to crush that objection.
Just let them experience it. Like,
Yep.
Oh, you read a book on golf? Cool. Let's go hit at the driving range. Let's see how straight.
Yep. So good, Joe. I like how you're like yelling at us.
I'm sorry.
No, I love it. I like it. It's kind of like
I yell a lot. I'm sorry.
I was like, oh, no, it was like a fiery preacher stance. I love it.
It projects. So whatever I'm doing now, I do at events. It works. So
yeah, he's passionate. That's right, Mike. That's right. Okay, Joe, what else do we have? Okay, so that's how you know what to say now at the event. You know how to, like, Joe just gave you like a really strategically crushing that objection right at the end of the event will help you make more sales.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Well, I promise we got like just a few minutes.
Yeah. Are you gonna do your thing?
You guys still want me to show you how you can like fill an event with basically?
Good. This is the best part.
Okay. All right.
Keep it coming, says Dolly.
Okay. Are you guys enjoying this? Give us a big yes if we're doing okay.
Aw.
We'll make sure we're like just throwing down because you guys paid big money to be here.
I know. I don't know if we'll ever do this again for $7, Joe, but we'll
Dropping gold.
Yeah.
So I had this struggle because I kept letting money or spending money or fear of losing money. I kept letting that, like when I $20,000 Joe that I told you about before he became $150,000 a month Joe and then $210,000 a month Joe, he kept being worried about how much money he was spending. Like the more enlightened version of myself recognized, man, if I can make money and get it back right away, I'm not really spending. Anyway, so here, let me walk you through it. Let's say you want to throw an event in 30 days. Oh, Eileen.
I love
We
it.
didn't do this yet.
Wait, what? Oh.
One of the biggest times of the year to throw a virtual event is the end of December, beginning of January.
Oh, yes. This is very important, and you should write this down. Does anybody, Joe, this is a good question. Does anybody know why December and January are hot months? Does anybody know why? You can let it know in the chat. And let us know in the chat. Why is December and January?
People are thinking about change, Krishanda said.
Yeah. Good. Very, very good.
Resolutions, new beginnings.
Good.
People are reflective. Clean.
Yep. Okay, good. Let me tell you the number one reason. Everybody is in buyer's momentum from December. So we get habituated by what we do frequently and abundantly. And in December, guess what the button everyone's clicking? Buy now. Everyone's clicking that button like crazy pants, like Black Friday. It starts at Black Friday, honestly. So they're in buyer's momentum. What is buyer's momentum? It's when people are habituated and already thinking, I need to get this. I need to buy this. I need to get this deal. I need to buy this. So they don't actually even really think a lot about the big money investment because of all the things they're buying. They kind of like wash it into their budget. So December and January are the best. Sorry, Joe. Back to you.
Yeah. And so you guys saw I did a pop-up event within like a week or two, right? And the first one, but I would suggest you have a pop-up event and a real event all before either the end of December or January 15th, like somewhere between there. Because you can definitely do a big event. How many of you would love to have a six-figure event in January to start 2021 off? That would be a better way to start off the year.
Somebody, that's good.
So what I'm going to do, so here, by the way, like one of the things that my clients use is we have this system where I have a Trello board where it literally tells them this one's set up for 30 days, but you can definitely, like we have a way to crunch it to 21 days. So within 21 days, literally every day, see how it says 19 days to the event, 18, 17? We literally have exactly what needs to be done that day and exactly which team member does it. If you're the only team member, totally cool. Like you don't have to worry about it. But if you have a team, it's literally step by step exactly what to do each day before the event. Okay. So it's like, and everything that's said to do there is in our like master perfect virtual event manual. So anyways, why do I say that? Because I'm going to show you how to break down your 21 to 30 days before your event. Okay. As it relates to how to do it for $0. So there's 7 ways to do an event. I'm going to use one of the 7 ways. Is it okay if I tell them this, Eileen?
This is okay, guys. If you stay to the end, you better just you're like, this is it right here. Joe's going to show you the number 1 way. There are 7 ways to do it. Usually people pick a couple, but this way works like crazy pants. This is the number 1 way that you can fill events.
Especially if you don't have a big list or whatever, and you're like, got to warm people up.
Yes, this is it.
So what we do is we do 5 free 5-day challenges. Okay. And so here's what happens. Most people are worried because I'm like, here's the math. To sell a $100 ticket usually costs between $75 and $125. It's about break even, right? And people get scared because they're like, oh my gosh, if I need to get 100 people there and it costs me $100 to sell a $100 ticket, like that wouldn't be good because that would cost $10,000, right? Whatever. I understand why that's scary. It's not that you don't have $10,000. It's just you don't want to throw $10,000 down a drain, right? So here's the deal. This is how we do it. You sure you want to know this? Because this is like you want to like start today kind of thing. Okay, so here you go. Week 1, and I'm drawing this Sesame Street style, so it's super simple. Let's say you were willing to just trust us and spend $3,000 week 1 on filling up a challenge. Okay. From doing that, okay, there's how detailed do I get, Eileen? I don't want to go too deep. You guys can ask questions if you want more details. Usually I have 3 different ticket prices so that people choose. So our average ticket tends to be around $150. Okay. Everybody, make sense for everybody? I know I'm doing math. Forgive me. Everybody put $150 a ticket average, but just put that in the chat so I know you're with me because you never want to do math when you're training. It scares people. Okay, cool. She said, haha, I did it. Okay, sweet. 150. Okay, you guys are with me. So if you spend $3,000, just trust me when I tell you spend about $3,000 on ads into a challenge, you're going to sell about 30 tickets, which means you're going to bring in $4,500 within about 7 days. Huh. So I spent $3,000 and I made $4,500 and I thought, I wonder, I made $1,500, but I really want to make 6 figures. So I'm just going to spend on week 2 everything I made back. And I spend $4,500 on week 2. And guess how many tickets I sell? I told you it's about $100 per ticket you sell. I sell about 45 tickets. Well, how much does that bring in at $150 a piece? Well, that brings in $6,750. Wait, so cool. So I spent $3,000 and then I took my profits, I put it in the next week. And then at the end of that week, $6,750 popped back. And by the way, there's probably even some more sales from week 1 that kind of carry through, but easy math. So I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to take the $6,750 and I'm going to spend, how much money have I taken out of my pocket from the very beginning so far? $3,000. That's what I started with. $3,000, right? Spent the $3,000. Now I'm spending $6,750. Guess how many tickets I sell with $6,750? 67, right? $100 a ticket. I know I'm doing a lot of math here. How much money comes in from that? About $10,000. Now watch this. How much money did I spend? Now, how many tickets have I sold? First of all, I had 30 tickets from week 1, 45 tickets week 2, and 67 tickets week 3. That's a grand total of, I have no idea. This is way above 3rd grade math. But 45 plus 30 is 75 plus 60. It's just call it 142, Dolly says. Thank you, Dolly. I have now sold 142 tickets. Okay? How much money is in my pocket now from those ticket sales? Do you remember? At the end of 67, we had how much? $10,000. If you talk to an accountant, is everybody tracking with this math so far? If you talk to an accountant, how much money would they say you spent that month? Well, you spent $3,000 week 1, $4,500 week 2, and $6,750. That means you spent, I don't know, call it $13,000-ish. But let me ask you a question. You guys with me? Did you really spend $13,000? Or did you spend $3,000, take your profits, spend the same $3,000 the next week with the new money that came in, the same $3,000 the next week? You just spent $3,000 3 times plus your profits. And at the end of that month, guess what you have in your pocket? More money. You started with 3 and you got 10. And guess what else you have? 142 people coming to your event. Let me ask you a question. Let's say you're terrible. I love you, but the first one's going to be tough, right? Maybe you get your bits all mixed up, right? And instead of closing at 20 or 35%, you close at a measly 10%. 142 people are there, 14 people buy. I'm going to tell you the lowest price that you should charge for almost anything at a virtual event is 10 grand. Maybe you could go down to 7,500 if you're a scaredy cat, but just do that on your pop-up event and you'll realize I was wrong. Okay? But I'm just going to cut that in half. I'm just going to make it 5 grand. Okay? 5 grand you sell something for because you're scared to death. 14 sales at 5 grand. Can anybody do the math on that? That's $70,000 if you're a scaredy cat, or $140,000 if you're just like mediocre. You know what my usual sale at an event is? Our average sale? 23 to 30,000. So for us, it's just pricing at that point. Guys, you start the month with 3,000, you end the month with 10,000, and 142 people to talk to who want to sit for 2 days to talk to you about your highest ticket offer. How many of you think that's good? Give me a big yes. Somebody said, wait, I missed where you used the initial 3,000. Week 1, that's your risk. I don't want you to risk 13,000. I want you to risk 3.
So guys, listen, I have some sort of like math issue and can't understand, like, this is harder. What Joe just did is actually hard for don't judge me. You can pray for me. But the point of, so what Joe just did, like, I actually had to have Joe do this and so I could understand it as well. Like, what you learn to do is you invest a little bit of money at Facebook in the beginning, and then you actually make money selling the tickets. Wave your hands if that makes sense. Okay, so you make money selling tickets. So you just reinvest. So what we do, it's the same thing that we do. We reinvest the money that we make and give it back to Facebook to sell more tickets. So the big thing that happens is you're actually getting paid to fill your event. So it's not like this is a really big thing. Listen, I work with a lot of clients and this is really difficult for some reason. I'm like, no, you give Mark Zuck the money. He gives you back lots of money. But somehow it's like a really hard jump just in the beginning, don't you think, Joe? But then you make money on the ticket sales and then all the people show up. So you've actually made money before, you haven't lost anything. And that's before you've sold your thing. Yeah, sorry, Joe.
No, you're good. Let's say it this way. Imagine a farmer who could put his seed out and get a harvest in 1 week. Okay? That's what you're doing. But let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever met a farmer who had a big harvest and then didn't keep back any seed to reinvest into the field for another harvest? What would you call the farmer who didn't take whatever he got and get seed for the next season? You would call him a fool. That's good old country talk. Like, like seriously, like what farmer doesn't put seed back in? And yet as business owners, we do it all the time. Like, oh, I made $1,500. I'm going to go spend it. No, don't spend it. Do you realize a farmer has to wait oftentimes 5, 7, 9 months, depending on the crop that he does, to get a return on his investment? You get a return on your investment in days.
Yep.
And so what you do is you just take the harvest, put it back in. Take the harvest, put it back in.
Yeah.
2 times of doing that, and you made a bunch of money,
So,
and there's 142 people who want to talk to you and say, or listen to you and hang out with you for 2 days so that you can tell them the best way to solve their biggest problem. And then at the end, 20 to 35% of them are going to buy from you.
right. Wave your hands if you're understanding the concept. I know the particulars and the tactics are a little detailed, and we'll try to answer as many questions. It's a free challenge, right, Joe? And then you're selling a $100 ticket, probably $97 ticket at the end of it. But lots of people buy the tickets because they love you by the end of the free challenge. So that's kind of the strategy that works to fill events the best, but you're making money before you've even started the event. That's
or worst case, what if you broke even? So what?
Yeah, even if you broke even, right. Yep. Yeah, you got it. You get it. The concept. Now, I know. So here, let me just coach you for a second. Like the winning posture that your mind should make right now is make a decision you don't have to know how to do it. You just have to know what to do. Like, okay, I run a challenge. That's how I fill the event. You just make a decision, but you can figure out the how. There's lots of ways you can figure out the how, but knowing the strategy is the most important part. You got it? Okay, Joe, I don't know if we're running out of time, but like, that was powerful. Give Joe a hand. That Joe has spent years figuring out the best way to fill events, and it's through challenges.
Hey, thanks for watching the video today. I know there's a lot of videos here on YouTube, and we just wanted to say thank you for your attention and for investing in your business. Don't forget to subscribe so I can keep you encouraged on the latest tips and tricks on how to grow your business to 6 and 7 figures and beyond. If you'd like to dive deeper in how to crush it with virtual events, head on over to Accelerate My Revenue or click the link in the description below. Don't forget, the world needs what you alone have to offer. Don't forget to subscribe so I can keep you encouraged. Go after your dreams. I'll see you in the next video.